Thank you so much for coming. Before we dive into the topic, let's take a look at our agenda. We'll be joined by our esteemed instructor, Dr. Jean Dubois, who will share his expertise on FUE punches for optimal cutting and high-quality extraction. Dr. Dubois is a distinguished expert in the field of hair transplantation. He graduated from the University of Liège in Belgium and holds a doctorate in medicine, surgery, and obstetrics. With over 15 years of experience, has trained with renowned practitioners such as Dr. John Cole, Dr. Bradley Wolf, Dr. Ron Shapiro, and Dr. Robert Bernstein. Aside from hair transplantation, Dr. Dubois also specializes in eyebrow, beard, and mustache transplantation using the FUE and FUT techniques. He is an innovator who's developed his own motorized system and punches for FUE graft extraction, and his research on the quality regrowth of FUE grafts is highly regarded by his peers. He actively shares his expertise through conferences, workshops, and publications, and of course on webinars with SkillNet, and he works with the International Society of Hair Restoration Surgery. Dr. Dubois, we are so excited to have you as our instructor today, and the stage is yours.
So the subject of this presentation is what about the FUE punches to obtain an optimal cutting and high quality extraction. I need to say that I have a conflict of interest because I am the inventor of the FUE system, and also I'm the owner of Divra Instrument Belgium and Divra Instrument LLC New York. This company holds the patent for the FUE and FUE Duo system as well as the hybrid punch. And I would like to thank Lisa Buana and her father Pierre Buana for their kind invitation. What I will present today is the following. First, I will speak about what are we looking for when we do an FUE, the key point, tethering, splay, extraction depth. I will speak also about a little bit about the history of the different kind of punch, sharp, dull, hybrid. I will speak about the movement. The movement are important: rotation, oscillation, vibration. And at the end, new idea, conclusion, and Q&A. This is what we are looking for. Ideally, we would like to have a chubby graft, looking more like FUT graft than with skinny FUE graft. Obviously, we would like to have a low transection rate, a low missing graft rate. Missing graft is the difference between what we try to get and what we really get. We are trying to have an easy extraction, a small scar. We would like to have a good number of hair per graft, and also a good number of graft extracted per square centimeter. On the left part, you can see typically a part of my quality control that I'm doing almost every day for every graft. We are calculating everything. And it's really nice to do because this is the way to first to train people, but also to improve instrumentation, because I can really, when I try something, when I try a changement, or when I try to see the influence of some factor like depth or diameter of the punch, I can objectify the result on that kind of Excel sheet. And what I'm looking for is a rate of transaction between 5 to 10%, a missing graft that is under 5%, maximum 10%. And also very important, I'm calculating the number of follicle per graft expected and the number of hair per graft achieved. This is really interesting to see both of them. It's not just about the rate of transaction, it's also to see how many hair we have, because this is the goal of an FUE, is to have enough hair. I'm not talking just in terms of enough graft, enough hair to cover an area. So I call it, very often I call it the insoluble equation. And especially when we use classical sharp punch, it's really difficult to find the good solution when we want to have everything I was talking about before, like chubby graft with low transection rate, easy extraction, small scar, good number of hypergraft, and good number of extraction. It's difficult to have everything on the same time. And I will take some example. For example, with sharp punch, if you say, oh, I would like to decrease the size of the scar, and I would like to increase the number of extraction per square centimeter, so I will decrease the diameter. I will take a small diameter. The problem if you take a small diameter is that you will not have chubby graft, you will have a high transection rate, and you will have a number of hypergraft that would be low. If you do the contrary, you say, oh, yes, I will take a big diameter, like 1.2 or like 1.3. Okay, you will have chubby graft, you will have low transection rate, you will have a good number of hypergraft, more important, but you will have big scar and you will have less number of graft per square centimeter. Same for the depth. You need to go deep enough to have an easy extraction, but when you go too deep or deep enough, you increase automatically the transection rate. So this is why I began to search, because I was not happy with the result I had with my extraction with sharp punch. And why is it so difficult to solve this equation?